Welcome back. Msukaligwa Municipality in Ermelo, Mpumalanga is still battling to contain water pollution in the area. The locals are complaining that they drink contaminated water. The Mpumalanga High Court found the municipality guilty of contravention of the National Water Act 2 months ago. The embattled municipality was ordered to stop operating the Ermelo wastewater treatment plant and repair manholes or face criminal action. 2 months later, the court order has not been fully adhered to.
Access to clean drinking water remains a huge challenge for residents of Ermelo.
Water is an everyday battle in our municipality. There are 6-7 days on one where we do not have a drop of water. We have no notification, we have no support at all, no water trucks. We don't even have information as to what is the problem, when we will be having water again, nothing. When we do have water, it's brown. It looks like coffee coming out of your tap.
Basson claims the court order is not implemented. Raw sewage is reported to be still spewing into the dam.
The water that we do get is contaminated. Nothing has been done about the court case. The public, none of us has received any information on any water treatment, how this problem is being solved. We have rivers, raw water sewers flooding into our dams. Our manholes is overcooking with sewer.
Msukaligwa Municipality was found guilty of polluting water resources, operating the Ermelo wastewater treatment plant without a license, and poorly maintaining manholes. They were given a month to improve. But to date, treatment plant is still operating without a license. Sewer is still spilling into water streams and dams. Water resources the locals and livestock depend on.
The municipality took a swift action in trying to remedy the situation. We immediately appointed an environmental specialist to assist the municipality in developing a rehabilitation plan, as well as to put the application for the water use license.
Meanwhile, the Water and Sanitation Department is monitoring developments with keen interest.
They submitted the plan and they committed that they'll be optimal. The plan will be operating optimally. So we are looking at that situation, and in their plan they already indicated that as from October until December, month of December, they'll be making sure that the plan is functionally, optimally operating. Now we are just waiting for the rehabilitation plan with the criteria for what they'll be looking at, and also the situation, the costs, what will cost in terms of the rehabilitation of the environment.
It remains to be seen if the municipality will be able to meet the set target and provide the locals with clean drinking water before the outbreak of waterborne diseases. SABC News, Ermelo.
For more on this, we are now joined by Professor Anthony Turton from the University of the Free State, from the Center for Environmental Management, and he joins us via our video link. Professor, thank you so much for joining us this evening here on SABC News. I must say that every week we see these kinds of stories. Just last week there were problems of water in Kimberley where residents were left for more than a week without a water supply. Now we see the same thing here with residents in Ermelo saying the same thing, that they don't have a clean, drinkable water. This is more than just a concern now.
Yes, good evening to you and the listeners. The story that's playing out there is playing out pretty much across the entire country at the moment. You must remember that the way that our systems are designed over the last 100 years, we've designed for what is known as an indirect reuse model. So what that implies is that the wastewater that comes from the sewage works, that gets treated, then gets discharged back into a river, indirectly into the river, and then from there it goes back into a water treatment plant where our drinking water comes from. And the latest numbers I've just had now are that something in the order of 7 billion litres of sewage every single day are discharged into rivers in South Africa. 7 billion litres every single day of wastewater. And if you look at the green drop reporting that comes out periodically, you'll see that a significant portion, something upwards of 80% of those wastewater works are dysfunctional in some form or other. So this is an absolute national catastrophe. It is not only unique to this particular municipality.
And Professor, when we look at this issue around municipalities and with these water treatment plants, one would say that it seems as if many municipalities in this country are struggling to get it right. Why are they struggling to treat these water treatment plants?
Yes, it's basically what's happened is our institutions of management have failed. And an institution is a very important thing because it's not just the building, it's people sitting inside the building, it's information flowing across desks, it's decisions that are made based on data that's presented on a spreadsheet, and all of those things have failed. So you can say across the board in South Africa now we're seeing acute failure in specific areas like Johannesburg, for example, right now, like in eThekwini, Durban at the moment. We're also having the same story, failure of this nature, and then of course in many of the smaller towns like the one that you're reporting on now. So this is absolutely a South African story now. It's not unique in any way to this particular municipality.
And would you say that the problems around water treatment plants and contamination of drinkable water, one would say that it all boils down to the maintenance of these treatment plants?
Maintenance is a factor. It's an important factor, but it's not the only factor. You must appreciate that very few of these plants have been upgraded in the last 30 years, and our population in South Africa has doubled in the last 30 years as a result of various factors. One of them just being natural population growth, the other one being the migration of people from rural to urban areas, and then of course we've had a lot of influx of people coming from outside the country. So we've doubled our population in the last 30 years, and we have not in any way upgraded our infrastructure. So that alone means that the infrastructure we have got is old, it's always overloaded, and of course we've got very little new infrastructure planned because the institutions I refer to have failed or are failing, and therefore they are unable to anticipate the future demands, and therefore they are unable to design, to plan, to call for tenders and what have you for future upgrades.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately the problem. Our planning capability is gone. It's not just a maintenance issue.
Yeah, and I was about to say, it's quite clear that governments actually know what they need to do. It's quite clear that we need some sort of a systems upgrade. What is the water department saying here when it comes to upgrading the systems we currently have? Or would you say that they are beginning to work towards that, or it's still hanging in the balance?
Well, we're getting into some constitutional issues here. This is very much a constitutional crisis as much as it is a water crisis, because you refer to the Department of Water and Sanitation there as if they've got authority to intervene at municipal level. They don't. They don't. They simply are not allowed to intervene at municipal level. So this is where part of the problem is, that the first laws that were promulgated in the post-1994 era was the Water Services Act and the National Water Act, and both of those acts were absolutely radical acts. They were completely drafted from scratch. They weren't modified or amended from previous acts. And what they did was they fundamentally altered the the architecture of management of water in South Africa. And that happened at the very same time that there were all kinds of other structural issues playing out within the in the economy. So the bottom line is that we don't have institutional memory within the municipalities that are responsible for making these decisions now. They actually don't have that institutional memory, and we've lost those skills at central level. So it is very much a constitutional, I wouldn't say crisis, but certainly there's a constitutional a dimension to this crisis that's playing out.
And what would you say can be the more urgent interventions that can be done by municipalities? I mean, because they have a service here to deliver to residents. And I mean, if residents are without water for a week or so, clearly that's detrimental to many people in various municipalities.
Yes, what we're seeing now all across the board is businesses under enormous pressure. Companies, manufacturing entities, motor car manufacturers, steel producers, you name it. If you own a company that employs people, then you've got to have water in your process in some way, even if it's only for your staff to go and perform hygiene in the daytime. Some factories use water for processes. If you're in the beverage industry, of course, then water is your main business. So the economy is where people get jobs. The economy is also where taxes are generated that pay the civil servant salaries. So the economy is under enormous pressure at the moment, and we see every single day, we see some news in the media about a new company that's closing down. So the bottom line is that the economy is unable to sustain itself in the face of energy insecurity, the whole Eskom crisis, and now increasingly water insecurity. These are two fatal blows to the economy. So we need to start thinking about water as an economic enabler and not just a social issue. It's very, very much part and parcel of the investor confidence profile of South Africa.
Professor, thank you so much for your time and for your contribution here on the show. That is Professor Anthony Turton. He is from the University of the Free State, from the Centre for Environmental Management.